Here is a true story about two brilliant men. Both dreamed of the same thing, to fill the world with the electric light. But they became bitter rivals. This is the story of Tesla and Edison. Their fight was not with swords or guns. It was a war fought with electricity itself. People even call it the War of the Currents. And its result still powers your home today. Let us meet the first man. His name was Thomas Edison. He was born in America in 1847. He had very little schooling, but he was curious, clever, and full of energy. Edison became one of the greatest inventors in history. People called him the Wizard of Menlo Park, after the town where he worked. In his large workshop, teams of men built new machines every day. Edison invented many famous things. He made a machine that could record and play back sound. He improved the electric light bulb and made it practical. Soon he wanted to light up whole cities. But Edison was more than an inventor. He was also a smart businessman. He knew that a great idea was only useful if you could sell it. He wanted his inventions in every home and street. In 1882, Edison opened a power station in New York City. It sent electricity to nearby buildings. For the first time, homes and offices glowed with clean, steady electric light. It felt like magic. Edison's system used something called direct current, or DC. In direct current, the electricity flows steadily in one single direction. It was safe at low power, and Edison believed in it completely. But DC had one big problem. It could not travel very far. The electricity grew weak after just a short distance. So Edison needed a power station in almost every neighborhood. That was slow and expensive. Now let us meet the second man. His name was Nikola Tesla. He was born in 1856 in a village that is now part of Croatia. From the start, his mind worked in a very unusual way. Tesla was a true genius, but also a dreamer. He saw whole machines in his imagination, spinning and working before he ever built them. He could picture every single part clearly inside his mind. Tesla had one big, powerful idea. He believed in a different kind of electricity called alternating current, or AC. In AC, the current does not flow one way. Instead, it changes direction many times each second. This sounds strange, but it had a huge advantage. Alternating current could be sent at very high power over long distances. Then it could be safely lowered again for use in homes. This was the key. So AC could travel far, where DC could not. With alternating current, one big power station could light a whole city or even a whole region. It was a bold and revolutionary idea. In 1884, the young Tesla sailed to America. He arrived with almost no money, but with a head full of dreams. And he went to work for the most famous inventor of all, Thomas Edison. At first, the two men worked together. Edison set Tesla difficult tasks, and Tesla solved them brilliantly. But they were very different people. Edison trusted hard work and testing. Tesla trusted ideas and an imagination. Soon, they began to argue. The story goes that Edison promised Tesla a large sum of money for improving his machines. But when Tesla succeeded, Edison did not pay. He said it had only been a joke. Tesla was hurt and angry. He left Edison's company. Now the two men were no longer partners. They were rivals, and each one believed his own kind of electricity was the future of the world. For a time, Tesla struggled. He had very little money. The story goes that he even worked digging ditches to survive. But he never gave up on his great idea of alternating current. Then Tesla found a powerful partner. His name was George Westinghouse. Westinghouse was a rich and clever businessman. He believed in Tesla's AC system, and he bought the rights to use it. Now the battle lines were drawn. On one side stood Edison with his direct current. On the other side stood Tesla and Westinghouse with alternating current. The war of the currents had truly begun. Edison was worried. Alternating current could travel far and cost less. It threatened his whole business. So Edison decided to fight back, not just with science, but with fear. Edison started a campaign to make people afraid of AC. He told the public that alternating current was far too dangerous. He said its high power could kill anyone who touched it. He wanted people scared. To prove his point, Edison did some terrible things. His team publicly gave electric shocks to animals using AC. It was cruel and shocking, but Edison wanted everyone to see AC as a killer. Then came the darkest part of the war. The state of New York was looking for a new way to carry out the death penalty. They wanted something they believed was more modern than hanging. Edison saw a chance to hurt his rivals. He quietly encouraged the state to use alternating current for this grim purpose. If AC was used to end a life, people would fear it even more. And so the first electric chair was built, and it used alternating current. In 1890, a prisoner named William Kemmler became the first person to die in it. The event was horrible and went badly wrong. Edison hoped this would destroy people's trust in AC forever. It was a cold and calculated move, yet in the end, even this dark trick was not enough to stop the rise of alternating current. Because AC simply worked better. It was cheaper and could reach much further. Businesses and cities looked at the numbers. More and more of them began to choose alternating current for their power. The two sides raced to prove themselves. Then came a huge chance to show the world. In 1893, the great city of Chicago held a giant World's Fair, a huge international exhibition. Both sides wanted the honor of lighting the fair. In the end, Westinghouse and Tesla won the contract. They would light the entire fair using Tesla's alternating current system. When the fair opened, the result was breathtaking. Nearly 100,000 electric lamps lit up the buildings at night. Millions of visitors came and stared in wonder at the glowing white city. It was a spectacular victory for Tesla and Westinghouse. The whole world could now see that alternating current was safe, beautiful, and powerful. Public opinion began to change in their favor, but the biggest test was still to come. It was a bold and ambitious dream to capture the power of one of the world's greatest natural wonders, the mighty Niagara Falls. For years, people had dreamed of using the falls to make electricity. The rushing water held enormous power. But there was a problem. The nearest big city, Buffalo, was over 30 kilometers away. Only one system could send power that far, alternating current. So the great project was built using Tesla's designs. Huge machines were placed at the falls to turn water power into electricity. In the year 1896, the moment came. The power of Niagara Falls flowed all the way to the city of Buffalo. The lights came on. Tesla's dream had become real on a giant scale. This was the final victory in the war of the currents. Alternating current had won. From that day on, AC became the standard way to send electric power across the world. It still is today. So Tesla's idea had triumphed. You might think he became rich and famous because of it, but the true story of his life took a much sadder and stranger turn than you would expect. Years earlier, Tesla had made a great sacrifice. When Westinghouse's company was struggling with money, Tesla gave up the huge payments he was owed. He tore up his contract to save his friend's business. It was a generous act, but it cost Tesla a fortune. He gave away the riches that his invention could have brought him. For the rest of his life, he would often struggle with money. But Tesla did not stop inventing. His mind raced ahead into the future. He dreamed of sending not just power, but messages through the air without any wires at all. He was thinking of wireless. Tesla did important early work on radio and remote control. He imagined a world connected by invisible signals. In many ways, he was dreaming of the wireless world we actually live in today. His most ambitious dream was a giant tower. He wanted to send electricity and information wirelessly around the whole planet. He began to build a huge tower for this purpose called Wardenclyffe, but the dream was too big and too costly. Tesla ran out of money. His backers lost faith and pulled out. The great tower was never finished. In the end, it was torn down. This became the pattern of Tesla's later life. Brilliant, beautiful ideas, but not enough money or support to complete them. He was often far ahead of his time, and the world could not always follow. Meanwhile, Thomas Edison remained rich and famous. His many companies were huge and successful. Over his life, he held more than 1,000 patents, an incredible record for a single inventor. Edison kept working almost until the end. He is remembered as one of the greatest inventors who ever lived. When he died in 1931, lights were dimmed across America in his honor. Tesla's ending was very different. He grew older, living quietly in New York hotels. He loved the pigeons in the city parks and fed them every day. He had few close friends and very little money. In 1943, Nikola Tesla died alone in a hotel room. He was poor, and outside his field, he was half forgotten. It was a quiet end for such a brilliant and important mind. For a while, history remembered Edison far more than Tesla. Edison was the famous businessman, the household name. Tesla, the strange dreamer, faded into the background of the story. But time has been kind to Tesla. In recent years, the world has rediscovered him. Today, many people see him as a visionary genius who imagined the future long before it arrived. His name is now known everywhere again. It is used for units of science and for one of the most famous car companies in the world. The quiet dreamer has become a legend at last. So who really won the war of the currents? For sending power over long distances, alternating current clearly won. The electricity in your walls at home is almost certainly AC, thanks to Tesla and Westinghouse. But the story is not quite that simple. Edison's direct current never really disappeared. In fact, it has quietly made a great comeback in our modern world in ways he could never have imagined. Think about it. The battery in your phone and your laptop uses direct current. So do computers and the tiny chips inside almost every modern device. In this hidden world, DC is everywhere. Even for very long distances, engineers now sometimes use a special modern form of direct current. So in a strange way, both men were right. The world today runs on a clever mix of both AC and DC. Perhaps that is the real lesson of this story. It was never truly about one man beating the other. It was about two different kinds of genius, each solving a different piece of a huge puzzle. Edison was the master of hard work. He famously said that genius was 1 part inspiration and 99 parts perspiration, which means sweat. He tested thousands of ideas until one finally worked. Tesla was the master of imagination. He could see finished machines in his mind, glowing and turning years before anyone built them. He dreamed of a future that we are still building today. The world needed both kinds of mind. It needed dreamers to imagine what was possible, and it needed hard workers to make those dreams real and useful and available to ordinary people. Their bitter rivalry was, in its own strange way, a gift to us all. The competition pushed both sides to work harder and faster. It helped bring electric power to the whole world more quickly. Imagine your life for a moment without electricity. No lights at night, no fridge, no heating, no phones, no computers. The modern world would simply stop. And all of it began with these early pioneers. Every time you switch on a light, you are touching the end of this story. The steady glow above you is the quiet result of that fierce battle fought over 100 years ago. It is easy now to take electricity for granted. It is always there, waiting in the wall. But it took brilliant, stubborn, and flawed human beings to tame this invisible power for us. Edison and Tesla were both those kinds of people. They were gifted, determined, and far from perfect. They made mistakes. They could be unfair, but together they lit up the modern world. Their story also teaches us about success and fame. Being the most famous is not the same as being right, and sometimes the true value of a person's work is only understood long after they are gone. Tesla died believing he had failed at his greatest dreams. He never knew that one day the whole world would celebrate his name. His story reminds us to look again at those we may have overlooked. So think about it for a moment. 2 rivals, 1 great question, and a war fought with invisible power. Out of their struggle came the electric light that shines in nearly every home on Earth. The war of the currents is long over, but its result is all around you right now, glowing quietly in the walls. Edison and Tesla are gone, yet their world is the one we still live in. Thank you so much for listening to this story of Tesla and Edison. If it helped your English, please subscribe here and give this video a like. A brand new story is coming in just a few days. And keep practicing right now while it is fresh. Tap the video on the screen to watch the next story or open the playlist to keep listening. Well done today, and see you very soon.